Hey guys, it's Sarah here from Accessorize This Designs, and I just wanted to bring you a video about how to sew some of the pieces onto your amis. Now, what we're going to start with is the arm. This guy here is this is a new Cuddle Buddy that's going to come out shortly. He's going to be a squirrel, but his arms are very similar to all the other Cuddle Buddies in how I sew them on. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to sew on the arms, and then I'll also show you how to sew on the ears of the Cuddle Buddies and most of the Pillow Buddies as well. So we're going to turn them over to this side. Now, when I create the arms to my amis, I normally have it where we single crochet across the top of the arm to flatten it. And then I use this line as sort of my guideline for the amis, for where to place the arm. Now, there are some Cuddle Buddies where I have them on an angle like this, so they can kind of give themselves a hug, but I still sew them the same way, just at a different angle. So what we're going to do to start is I'm going to place the part that I single crocheted across right in the crease of the neck, right in the smallest part. I'm going to have to kind of guess here to start. I'm going to go like this, and I will go under about 2 pieces of the body. So you see how the single crochets are kind of made up of 2 little, like they almost make an arrow. I try to go under both pieces of that as much as possible, just to make it more stable. So I'm going to go under here like this, and then I'm going to go up through my first single crochet. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the arm like this. Take a look to make sure that it's going to end in about the same place that this arm did on this side. So you want them to be a little bit closer in the front than they are in the back. And so now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to keep working along here, going under these couple pieces and then up. You want to work along the same line. If it's not perfect, that's okay, because we're going to hide it in the next little part that I show you. Just a couple more here. Whoops, I'm knocking my camera around. Sorry about that, guys. There, and then we'll go up through the last one. Okay, so what I do next for the arms, I like them to be really, really secure, because my kids play with these all the time and you don't want limbs falling off on you. So what I do next is I flip the ami around and I go through still that same crease in the neck. But then I find the last row I did, the last round, and then I sew into that part all the way around the arm. And it kind of shortens the arms a little bit, but it makes them super secure. And then up here, so you're kind of going under the 2 little pieces again up in the last round, and then back down here. And so I just continue this around, and I'm going to continue it around the bottom of the arm as well to make it super secure. But don't end off until you've got them both on here, to make sure that they're spaced out the way that you want them. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just do that first little part, the single crochet, the part where we single crochet together. I just sew that part along first, and then do that for both arms, make sure they're even, and then I go through and do the rest of them. So that's the arm for you. And now what I want to show you, move this guy out of the way, I'm going to show you the inner ear. Sit down here. So the inner ear, now with most of my parts, I try to have a single crochet edge around the outside of them, because I like the look that it gives when you sew them together. So what I do, just sew these guys on. Now I'm sure there are a million different ways of doing this, but this is what I found works best for me. So I'm going to go down into the next stitch. And then I'm going, when it's placed on here, you want to put it just under where your inner ear is sitting. And then I'm going to come up that same stitch that I just went down. And then we're going to move to the next stitch. And we're going to go down to the next little piece underneath. And then go up the same stitch again. And we're going to keep on working like that all the way around the piece. Do a little bit more, you can see how nice the edge sits then. So again, you try when you're on the lower part, the outer ear, you try to grab just those couple pieces from the stitch, or when you're working diagonally, I try to grab like 2 pieces, and then you want to make sure you're not going through the back. So 2 pieces, and we're going up the same stitch, down the next stitch. This yarn does tend to fray a little bit. If it starts to fray a lot, end it off, start with another piece. Otherwise you'll end up with some trouble later on. So 2 pieces, up the same stitch, down the next stitch. Whoops. Like that. And we're just going to keep working along here. Okay. And down here, down the next stitch. All right, so you can see kind of how nice that gives your edging. And you just keep working along in that pattern. So if you pick up your 2 stitches, up the same stitch, down the next stitch. Pick up your 2 pieces, up the same stitch, down the next stitch, and you'll go all the way around. And this is how I do like any piece that's laying flat on another piece. So for example, the body here, all around the outside, that's how I did the tummy. And then when I'm doing the eyes, that's how I do the eyes as well. So you're using the white piece to go around this part the same way. Then you're using the black part to go around this way, and then they come up here. And I leave my ends so that I can find them until I've put both sides on to make sure that they line up properly. All right, so for the ears, now the ears seem to be, they can be tricky. They can be tricky. And I kind of use the same technique when I make my ears, where I like to have it's where they you single crochet across at the end of the ear, or the bottom of the ear, I guess it would be. So you single crochet across there. So I use that single crochet line, the one where we put the 2 halves together. I use that line to crochet or to sew my ear on first. Now with this squirrel, we're gonna actually put the ear in a C shape, but it's still the same technique that I use for this versus like the horse and any other animal, where I go across this single crocheted part, sew it on just the way I did the limb. So let's see if we can place this properly. We want him to go about here. I usually have both my eyes on first before I start sewing, but I can still give you guys an idea. Yeah, so you go down a couple pieces, or you go under like 2 pieces up through this. And this we do a little bit, we do the same way as the limb, where you're just going to work all the way across. I'm going to try and make it in a C shape here. This part we'll move because we didn't finish sewing it yet. I'm going to go all the way along here. And I'm not going to do it all right now because I want to just leave some time to show you the next step. So what I would do, keep going along here. Then like the limb, we sew around the back. But with the ears, to make the ears stick up, I like to, I'm just going to move my yarn under here so I can show you the technique better. Just let the yarn come up a little bit further over here. Okay, move that out of my way again. And then what I do for the ear, now this would already be sewn down, is I would go through about 2 rounds up at the back of the ear from the bottom. 2 rounds up, and then you back about a round, or about a stitch behind here. So we're going to work along this row, stitch, and then you keep going through that second row. And what this will do is it'll let the back of the ear will pull back a little bit, and that'll give you your stability for your ear. Now, I use this technique on all of them, and like even with the horse, you want to angle your ear the other way a little bit, but you still use the same technique at the back to get it to stand up. Anyways, I hope this helps. And so then after we do the back of the ear, I usually then sew up along the front of the ear again, working in just the last round. So right up along this line, and that keeps the ears nice and stable so that your little one can't pull the ear off on you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.